someone is born poor, what comes to your mind? That's a question for you. I want you to ponder on it and see what you can come up with. This is what I like to say here. I didn't come from a rich family, but I believe a rich family must come from me. So stay tuned because we have great content here that I believe you will find something that you like and you can connect with on this channel. With that being said, for those of you who are new here on this channel, we talk about relationships, life, family, inspiration, and all things life. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification so you get notified when I post future videos. It really helped my channel. Thank you so much. So listen, man, here's a question for you. When we say someone is born poor, what does that mean to you? What comes to your mind? I want you to think about that, all right? But I like to say here, I didn't come from a rich family, but I sure do believe that a rich family must come from me. I really stand firm on that. And I want you to as well, because if you believe it and work towards it, it can happen for you and it can also happen for me. All right? That's the kind of mindset I like to have. And I want everyone that's connected to this channel and that is part of my growing community to have the same mindset, because I know and believe that we all can attain so much more than where we are currently. Okay? So let's dive right into the content here. Today, we will be talking about things that poor people do that rich people don't. Bill Gates once said that being poor is not your fault, but dying poor is your choice. So when I hear this quote, I tend to think about our mindset, because our mindset is everything. When you may be born poor, you may not be from a wealthy family, right? You may come from a poor background, a third world country, developing country, whatever situations you may have found yourself in when you were brought into this world. But does that mean you have to stay that way? Does that mean you cannot change your circumstances or the situations, right? You sure can. You can be whatever you want to be, and you can do whatever you want to do once you have the right mindset. We always come up with excuses why we are not getting ahead, why we are not doing things that we need to do, right? And unfortunately, your excuse for not becoming something in life is truly invalid. Why is it invalid? Because there are excuses. That just means you didn't put the effort. You didn't do the work. You didn't do what you needed to do in order to get to the next level, in order to accomplish those things that you need to accomplish. So we tend to make excuses, and that helps us feel better in a sense, but that really doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't help your situation at all. Let's get rid of the excuses and start putting in the work. Start creating, start having a different mindset when it comes to life, when it comes to money, when it comes to wealth, all of that. We need to change our mindset, because here's the truth. Poverty is the absence of creativity. It's not the lack of resources. If you're not being creative and you're not doing things or putting yourself in an environment that is going to help you strive and help you accomplish those things that you do want to accomplish, you can have all the resources. But if you're not a creative, you don't have a creative mindset, you cannot get ahead. You cannot do anything with that resources that you have, because the resources might be there, but if you don't know how to create with it, it's pointless, it's useless, because only the ones that use the resources to create can get ahead, can get that business started, can get to the next level, can be in environments that help them strive, that help them become a better person or a better version of themselves. So you want to make sure you are positioning yourself and thinking. Let your thoughts flow. Let your creativity flow. There's so much more that you have inside of you, but if you're not tapping into those things, if you're not trying out new things to see where you really fit or where your strengths lies, you're really not going to know what's inside, because sometimes we get comfortable doing the same things over and over again. The bottom line is that your choices matters a great deal. They do. The choices that you make today, the choices that you made yesterday, the choices that you will make tomorrow, they all matter. They all has a huge part to play in your success. Let's take it a little further here, right? When it comes to poverty, it's not just about money, because you can be poor with a rich mindset. You really can. But oftentimes we allow the construct of what poverty represents to consume us. What does that mean? There's so many different perspectives when it comes to poverty, but a lot of times I feel like we have a limited mindset as to what poverty really is. So when you limit yourself as to the definition of poverty, you are putting a box around that, and you are putting yourself in that category because of your circumstances, because of your past, because of your upbringing, because of your family tree and things like that, right? But that does not define who you are. With all of that, it causes us to be negative, and we lack the courage to even try to make a change. We lack the courage to change our current situation and head into the direction towards financial freedom. A lot of the people that we connect with today, we read about or we hear about, a lot of them started from scratch. They started from nothing, and they build themselves up by the things that they read, the environments that they place themselves in, the people that they connected with. All of that helped them to get where they are today. So I want you to remember that, because sometimes it's where we find ourselves. We are limited to a certain environment. We are limited to a certain type of thinking because of the people that we are around. So we have to remember that placing yourself in certain environments has a lot to do with where you will end up in life. And when it comes to finances, what your mindset is. If this is you, don't lose hope. Don't lose hope, because we've all been there. There were times that we never knew our true self. With all of that, what's really important is that you recognize where you are in your journey. Acknowledge the changes that needs to be made and get to work. See, the first thing that poor people do that rich people done is lifestyle creep. What does that mean? It happens when your spending goes right up along with your income. So when people make a lot of money, they start to spend more. For example, if you get a promotion at work or you get a second income stream, right? A lot of times what people do is their spending automatically goes up. They start to change their wardrobe. They start to buy new things, right? They changing their TVs. They're getting a new car. They're getting all these gadgets, they're buying a new cell phone, all of that. When people have more money, they tend to want all the things that they really technically cannot afford. But because the money is there, so they feel that they need to have certain things. They need to be up there in status. All of that, because people are looking at material things, right, to define their status. For example, during the tax season in the United States, right, people get money. A lot of people file taxes and they get tax refunds back. They're going right to the store to buy a new TV. They're going to buy cars. A lot of the car dealers, they make a lot of money during tax season. Why is that? Because people are getting extra money that they're not used to having. So they're in a sense confused as to what to do with that money, because they're not financially educated to know where to put their money when it comes to investment and things like that. People get money and they think they have to spend it. They have to spend all of it, because when it wasn't there, they weren't spending, right? So you would think that when they have the extra, they need to be wise about it and probably save some and then use some, but they don't do that. You're buying a new gadget. Is that really bringing income in? No. You're changing your TV. Is that really bringing income in? No. All these material things are not really helping you financially. They're satisfying your need in the moment, but in the long run, what does that do for you? You're losing money, right? Because all you're doing is spending what you have and not saving for the future. You're spending what you have and not thinking about tomorrow, or as far as how am I going to retire? How are my kids going to go to college? So all these things really boils down to financial education. If people are not being educated, they are just going to spend at will and not think about what the next action or the next important step to take when it comes to their finances, right? See, with these kinds of behavior, it is clear that money management is a problem for a whole lot of people. So what really people should be doing instead is to really add to your emergency fund. Now, if you don't have an emergency fund already, now it's a good time to start. During the tax season, it's a good time to start. because that's extra money coming in, right? Open up an IRA, an individual retirement account, or just have that money, just put that money in the bank somewhere and have it save up for emergency, because you just never know when that next emergency going to come. It's bound to happen. There are things that happen that we don't expect to happen. And when those things happen, what do you fall back on? That's when the emergency fund comes into play. That's what it's for. You want to be able to have money save up for emergencies so that when they come up, you don't have to go borrow from somebody. You don't have to be looking around to figure out, where am I going to get this money from to solve this problem? That problem that came is, in a sense, a test when it comes to your finances. So you are to be prepared. So save up, add to your emergency account if you already have one, or if you haven't started one already, go ahead and start one, because that will help you in the long run. Now, the rich, on the other hand, are constantly looking for ways to save and invest. Even if they already have savings and investments or assets and things like that, they always want to do more. And that's the attitude right there. In order to have financial freedom, that's the attitude you need to have. You always want to add to your savings. You always want to add to your investment. You always want to figure out avenues where you can get more assets, where you can learn to put your money in places that's going to benefit you later on. See, I do understand that everyone procrastinates, but some people are really, truly master procrastinators. They are always waiting for the perfect time and opportunity. But guess what? There is no such thing as the perfect time. There is no such thing as the perfect opportunity. If you keep waiting for the perfect time and opportunity, it will never come. It just will not. So that's something I want us to understand today. Poor people believe that the time to do something is always in the future, not today. You will hear people say, oh, I'll do it next time. Oh, I'll do it next month. Oh, I'm not ready yet. I don't think this is a good time. I got this going on, that going on, the other, right? And when you hear that, a lot of times when you hear that, it's all the excuses, really. I call them excuses, because all the things that they're pointing out for being the reason why they're not doing certain things, all those things that they're doing instead, they're time wasters. They're not anything that really is going to propel them to be better, to be a better person, or to come up better financially. All those things they're doing are really things that they're comfortable with doing, and they're things that they're just used to doing, really, and it doesn't get them anywhere. So in a sense, when they're making these excuses, think about the fact that you postponing things that you really should be doing today, it just tells you that that's most likely is not going to get done, because you are, in a sense, putting on important things in a place of things that are important. And by that, you really are never going to get to doing those things that are truly important. And that's going to help you succeed. Because when they say the future to them, in reality, the future just never arrives. It never comes. The future could be 10 years from now. It could be 20 years from now. It could be never. So when they say those things, just know that that idea, that opportunity, that business or whatever, it's just never going to happen. They do nothing with it, because they really do not set their mind to it, and they really do not make plans to making sure that they bring it to life, right? So rich people don't procrastinate on things that contribute to their wealth. They just don't, because they know how important it is to building wealth. They know how important it is to make sure that they are staying laser focused on their goals, because they have goals put in place. They want to achieve their goals at a certain time. They have time frames. They have deadlines. And because of that, they're working towards it. They want to make sure they're meeting that deadline. They want to make sure they're attaining that goal. When that deadline comes up and they don't attain that goal, that's a failure. And a rich person, somebody with rich mindset, really do not want to fail when it comes to their finances, when it comes to their businesses. Because the goal is to keep getting bigger and better in your business. The goal is to keep growing and keep learning. So why put up something that you really should be doing today? It's very, very important to take on opportunity as they come, because you just never know where that opportunity or that new idea, you just never know where it's going to lead you. So you want to jump on it right at the beginning and just run with it. Grab it by this horn and just see exactly where it's going to take you, because you want to give it your all. You want to put your all into it, and you want to see it through until the end. All right, that's the idea. And that's the attitude that poor people need to have when it comes to opportunities, when it comes to getting things done. It's so important. One other thing that poor people do that rich people don't is, you might find it shocking, but I'm going to say it: watching TV. Yes, I said it. Watching TV. That is one thing that is so detrimental to your progress. That is one thing that is so detrimental to your success. And I know people might say like, oh, you're just exaggerating. It's not what you think. You know, people have different thoughts when it comes to watching TV. I've had conversations with people where they don't really see it for what it is, or they don't agree with my belief, and that's okay. You don't necessarily have to agree, but I have reasons why I said so, right? For example, let's look at it this way. See, if you know every celebrity current relationship status, the latest updates on celebrity news and things like that, if you've watched every episode of your favorite series, you are watching TV a little too much. That TV is consuming a little too much of your time. And you are really giving that TV show or that celebrity news so much of your time, your power, all of it. You're giving your all to it. And that wasted time, guess what? You never get it back. Time is one thing that you really never get back. So I look at it as you're losing your time and wasting your time on things that are really not necessary. A lot of people say, oh, you know, TV is for entertainment, you know, work without play, you know, blah, blah, blah. They have all these things to say. I get it. I truly understand it. There's nothing wrong with that. You can watch TV, but just not too much. And I believe that if you're watching TV, you really want to make it worthwhile. You really want to make your time worthwhile. What does that mean? You want to be able to watch content. You want to watch content that is going to be educational, for one, like this one right here. Very educational, because we're talking about things that's really going to help you in your life now and in the future. Those are things that you need to be connected with. Watching documentary, things that give you information that keeps you informed. It's great because you are learning in the process and also entertaining yourself in the process, right? That is totally fine. But people are so quick to give you this, oh, that's my way of relaxing and unwinding after a long day. Well, if you have used up 8 hours of your day at work, giving that 8 hours of your time to someone else's business or company or whatever, right? You give all of that time away. Why don't you spend 2-3 hours of your own time after you've already given that 8 hours, right? Why don't you spend 2-3 hours of the extra time that you have? Why don't you spend that on yourself? Why don't you spend that creating? Why don't you spend that time learning and improving yourself? Because I think that's what makes all the difference. That's what makes the difference between you and the person who's out there and not really evolving. If you know that your lifestyle right now, where you are in your life right now, is not where you want to be 5-10 years from now,